to another amazing session. In this session, we're happy to have Kay Johson with us. Kay is a force to be reckoned with and a multi-dimensional creative. She's a small town girl with an international dream. Her superpowers are creative vision, self-care, confidence, and professional transition strategies. Her mission is to see 1 million rise in confidence. Kay is going to speak to us on the power of radical confidence and self-care. Welcome, Kay. We are excited to have you tell us how you got started with radical confidence and self-care and how what you can do to help women thrive. So just jump right in with it.
Amazing. I'm super excited to be here and to be part of Small Change, Gratitude, and all that you're doing, especially empowering other women. The power of radical confidence and self-care was born in me about 5 years ago. I remember being in college, and I've always been a high achiever, right? I've always set the bar. I'm the oldest of all of my siblings, so I've always set the tone for the family, for myself, for my success. And the question I want to ask you before I even get started is, are you a thermostat or are you a thermometer?
Wow, that's a tough question.
I asked that question because most of the time we go through life, and this was me at first until I thought of that question and I had my transformation, my personal transformation. But most of the time we go through life just accepting things, just accepting the temperature in the room, just accepting what people give to us. And for me, about 5 years ago, I started with some young girls. I started with young girls in Memphis, Tennessee. And I just wanted to pour into them. You know, I just wanted to be a role model in a space that I thought that I could have needed it at that particular time in my life. They were middle school girls, high school girls. And when it came to radical confidence and self-care, I didn't understand some of the basics, which is really one of the most basic things is loving yourself.
Yes. So tell us more about how you actually came to love yourself, because that's a big challenge for a lot of women. We would quickly say, I love you and I love everybody else, and put ourselves on the back burner. That's not loving yourself to me. So how did you come to fall in love with Kay?
Surprisingly, my story really starts from a place of a lack of self-love, and I didn't understand self-compassion. We're always on a journey of self-discovery, and I talk about this in my book, but I was in college and I was dating this guy, and I thought I was going to be with him like for the rest of my life, right? We always think we're going to be with this one guy for the rest of our lives because he was so great at the time, right? And through that heartbreak, I spiraled downward. And when I say downward, I mean down. And so far down to the point where I wanted to take my own life. This was a clear sign. This is a clear indication that something about me was not loving me. And I remember my mother being on the phone that night in all the chaos. Thank God I didn't take my life. But in all the chaos, when I was coming to, the light was turning on and I was seeing the end of the tunnel, she asked me this question, and I will never forget it as long as my memory is good. She asked me, why do they get to live and you don't? And this question, in this moment of a downward spiral of my back against the wall, my self-esteem at the place that I never thought it would be, as a high achiever, top 5 in my class, different pageant titles and being a local star, as you can say, I had spiraled down all the way. And because of this question, I was able to pick myself up. And about 3 years later, I wrote Beginner's Vibe Guide because I knew that there are going to be so many women who say, I love you and I want to be there for you and I'm going to show up for you, you, and you. But we don't necessarily know how to show up for ourselves. So how I got started from that was a spiral down. I took a step back from relationships and I intentionally learned how to love myself. I prayed for myself. I asked God to help me see myself how he sees me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I swore off relationships for some time. I really did. But I also stepped into therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And so coupled with prayer, therapy, and a gracious family, a gracious mother picked me up in that time, I was able to overcome one of the toughest mental disorders that I didn't realize was a mental disorder in my life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's interesting because oftentimes we have to go through heartbreak to fall in love with ourselves, through heartbreak. When the heart breaks wide open, been there and done that. So I can relate to that. And so you move from heartbreak to self-confidence. You mentioned that you wrote Beginner's Vibe Guide. Was that a step or a guide to developing self-confidence? Share a little bit more about that with us.
Yeah, so I remember being in college as well, and I remember hearing God say to me that I was going to be a book writer. So I started writing these, titles down in my notes section of my of my phone. And none of those titles are the title of the book now, but it wasn't really a step and a guide for me at the time, but it's what I did, some of what I did to get to where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So in the book, I break these different sections down. We talk about engaging with the world, creating yourself and finding yourself. A lot of people talk about finding yourself, but I kind of flip the script when it comes to finding yourself, because you cannot find yourself in other people. You have to find and go within yourself to find you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I think when people say you have to find yourself, they're saying, go look that way, go look that way, and look at that person, look at that person. But what I discovered from studying success, a lot of the successful people had a routine, a morning routine. And I remember being in my depressive state and not wanting to get up out of the bed, not wanting to blink my eyes, brush my teeth, some of the simple things.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, some of the steps that I take, I talk about this in the book, because these are the steps: self-discovery, self-compassion, being a leader, and my relationship with leadership, not compromising. So setting boundaries. All of these were so many intricate and important pieces and necessary pieces for the greater development on the other side of my transformation. I've always been, like I said, a high achiever, but our heart feels, our emotions feel. And sometimes people can seem like, can maybe think that heartbreak is far off and it's not gonna make me feel that way, but everybody is built differently. And, some things have just built on you and you just burst, because sometimes we don't deal with things. And that's that self-care piece.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the confidence and the courage to deal with the things that have built on in your life that you have not confronted, that you've just let go under the rug. And so that's what my journey was about. It was about confronting the things that I was lying to myself about, confronting the things that I was not showing myself compassion with. Being a high achiever, it was success, success, success. I always focused on success. I did not have a good relationship with failure. So when I spiraled down, I had to redevelop a better and a healthier relationship with the word failure and with what seemed like failure in my life.
Okay. So you mentioned also, Kay, that you've done some work with young girls at the onset. Share with us what you do with young girls. When you say young girls, what age groups are you talking about? And what is it that you specifically do with them that points in the direction of developing self-confidence?
So the power of radical confidence and self-care, when I work with these young women, I'm thinking about building, not building myself, but helping build better women for the future. Because women, we bear children. We're the ones that do the cooking most of the time. Times have changed. We're working. And so my sweet spot has been girls in middle school, high school, college. And so with this being my sweet spot, I see a lot of the issues really start in middle school. You really start to care. You start to care in elementary school, but you really start to care about what people think about you, what men, boys think about you during that time. You're starting to go through these hormonal change. And so even to be even more exclusive, I focused in the pageant industry because as women, as young girls who put ourselves on display to be judged, literally, in a traditionally body conscious space, I've been helping Black girls understand how to show up in that space so that they can afford college if that's something if there's what they're trying to do for their future, and get a lot of scholarships, because scholarships is the way that I was able to afford my college career. And so one of my recent clients, she just went and competed in Philadelphia and she became second runner up. But her barrier that she has to break through in a body conscious space is that she is a bigger body, plus size, young teenage woman. And so she has to break through the barrier of people seeing her body, being body conscious, but having the confidence and the courage to show up, as well as taking care of herself and her mind when she's on this stage and when she's representing, and also attempting to secure her future through scholarships.
Okay. So you help women prepare to compete in pageants?
Yes. More specifically, yes, but the relationship tends to grow further than that, because it's not just about the pageant industry, because it's about the life skills that they learn. So we have interview preparation, professional transition skills, learning how to answer questions confidently, and also focusing in on your skill set and your spotlight, your stardom, in every space, not just in that space, but how I guess you can say they gravitate towards me is through that connection of pageantry.
So is pageantry somewhat a segue to self-discovery? Is that what I'm hearing?
I believe so.
Yeah. So share with us what's been one of your biggest accomplishments since you started your business?
This is a really good question, and I had to ponder this a lot because I've had a lot of successes in my life. But I would have to say one of the biggest accomplishments to me in my business is me self-publishing the Beginner's Vibe Guide. Because it's such an amazing and powerful tool. And I don't say that because I wrote it, I don't have that bias, but because when I put it in someone's hand, when I stand on the stage and I speak to young girls and women who are in the room, they are instantly telling me, this changed my life. I was down, now I'm up. I didn't know who I was, now I know better about me. I didn't want to hear this topic, but you made it chewable. You made it, enough for me to just be able to chew on it, understand it, and take it. It wasn't such a hard pill to swallow after I heard your story. So Beginner's Vibe Guide is just a beautiful short novel that's going to tell you about my story, but most importantly, going to share steps on how to be confident and how to care for yourself in every space, financially, socially, environmentally, mentally, spiritually, all of the things. We give ourselves to so many things: our jobs, our family, our friends, our churches, our communities. We do so many things. And even through pageantry, I was able to stand on this self-care revolution. I've actually changed the name of it actually, but it's the self-care revolution. How do we go into the world in businesses and have a true conversation with people who are over us, who give us our schedules? How do we have a conversation about what we need and what we can do in this space to be more cared for? And how can I be optimal and productive in your company and I still be cared for and still meet my quota, still meet my standards? And so through pageantry, I was able to share this on a much larger stage and a much larger presence with the state of Tennessee. Mm-hmm. And with that, when you take the opportunity to share what you care about and you put it in a bite size, because there's no color to it. Self-care confidence is no color to it. There's no race to it. There's no age, there's no size to it. It's very neutral because every person, I believe every person, no matter how your hair grows out of your head and what your skin looks like, you need confidence for every opportunity. Confidence is key. And there's levels to confidence for different realms, different spaces, different levels. And I could go on and on, but confidence is a key. And you may be confident in the boardroom with your people, but when it's time to go network with people you have not met before, where's your confidence then? When it's time for you to speak up for yourself and the people you care about in the boardroom, where's your confidence then? When it's time for you to have a tough conversation with your child or from child to parent, where is your courage and your confidence then? It requires a delicate level of intensive self-care and courage and confidence to go in every space, not just pageantry, but every space in your community, in your church, in your job, and in your family, to have a conversation that is transformational.
Okay. Now, you started your business right after you graduated college, or did you start it before you graduated? Right after graduation?
I started in 2020 when the world was tumultuous and chaotic.
Yeah. So you started your business. So what is maybe one mistake you made? You know, there are lots of young women who probably have the passion to step out and move in the direction of following their passion. And that's a really challenging thing to do. So share one mistake you made and one thing you did to keep you moving in the direction of following your passion.
Ooh, so many mistakes. My goodness. I would say one mistake I made would be maybe not getting the full information on starting a business from infrastructure. I'm speaking infrastructurally. Starting the business with the full knowledge of every step and what every step required financially, mentally, and emotionally. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurship is not for the weak. Entrepreneurship will really call on you to become healed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I remember being in business and wanting to get clients, and I was in a state of desperation, or I was feeling some type, whatever way it was, and that will come off. So for anyone who is attempting to be an entrepreneur or start their own business or whatever, or collaborate with someone in business, it's going to call for you to be a healed version of yourself. It's going to call for you to have tough conversations. It's going to call for confidence. It's going to show it. Things are going to show up that you have not dealt with in entrepreneurship. So the biggest mistake is not knowing every step, the full knowledge of it, and how much that would cost me mentally, emotionally, and the rest of the things that makes us a human.
Yeah, and that also impacts your health. So you have to move through all of those challenges with self-love. Otherwise, it can get the best of you. So what's one suggestion you would make to women who are viewing this summit? What's one suggestion you would make to them? A small change that they could make to move in the direction of, number one, following their passion, and secondly, the confidence to do that. And I don't know which, I think the passion comes first, but the confidence to stick with your passion is always challenging. And what most women do is put that passion on the back burner and they go to work somewhere else, and they do that for years, and then they come back to their passion, or they try to incorporate it into whatever it is they're doing. So what's one small change that young women can make in particular to move toward becoming more self-confident and taking care of themselves better?
I believe one small change we can do, okay, is to start to make good memories in our life, because good memories equal a better success. You have a better self-trust and confidence. Radical confidence in self-care requires self-trust. When you make good memories with things that you're doing, things that you're setting out to do, that's on your goals, that's a milestone for you, like graduating college, that's a good memory. I graduated, I finished, no matter what it took from me or what it took me to do it. I graduated. It's a good memory. So we have to build good memories because it helps us have a self-trust that helps us with our confidence. If we don't have any good memories of execution, of success, then we're going to always be on the downside of our confidence and our self-care, our self-love, because we have no good memories with that. So we have to build the muscle of good memories. So that means you have to get out there and do something, even if it's small, whatever it is. What it is, it can be a small, like we said, small change. It can be a small change. Do something small. It could be big to you because it's going to help you with your self-trust. But until you build good memories and make that one small change, you will not see the success. You will not see the fruit of your passion because you won't have that good memory.
Okay, so you heard it, viewers. Make one small change, build a little memory or a big memory. And sometimes little becomes big as you build on them. So thank you, Kay, for sharing that information with us, and tell us how our viewers can connect with you to take advantage of the services that you have to offer, maybe to them, to their children, their grandchildren. We have viewers of all ages attending this summit. So share how they can access your services.
Yes. I thank you, every person, for listening, because the next step that I want you all to do is go to Inspire Bosses YouTube. You can find me everywhere on social media and Inspire Bosses. You can also purchase the Beginner's Vibe Guide to share with yourself, number one, first, so that you can understand what's in the book, and then share it with your daughter, your niece, your granddaughter, your sister, your cousin. I've had women of all ages, up to 70 plus, read this book and say that this book has been as insightful, has changed their life, to have changed their perspective, and brought them from a place of downward spiral to a place of airplane flying in the sky. So you can find me everywhere: Instagram, social media, Kay Johson, and Inspire Bosses. But go to YouTube and subscribe there so that you can hear my podcast, as well as purchase a copy of my book.
Well, thank you so very much, Kay, and I wish you nothing but the best with your business, and I'm hoping that women who are listening will take advantage of your services. Thank you very much.